Death Adder is one of the best weapons given to us in Season of Arrivals. With the right roll, this gun could be the replacement for the Recluse, being that this will not sunset until Season 15. Most of you probably already know that it comes from the new dungeon, but what if I told you you could farm it? Hey, what's up guys, I'm Marshix, and today we're looking at how to farm Death Adder from the new Prophecy dungeon. If you find this video helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to stay up to date with all my Destiny 2 content. If you've already gotten Death Adder, you may have noticed you got it from one of three places: the Wasteland secret chest, the Rainbow Road secret chest, or the second encounter, aka the rotating puzzle room. These are the only places you can obtain Death Adder. If you've never gotten it to drop, you must first complete the second encounter and get the chest. This chest can only drop the Death Adder, Negative Space, or Year 1 Trials of the 9 Gauntlets. You essentially have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it to drop from the second encounter. Once you get your first Death Adder, you'll be able to get it from the secret chests that I mentioned earlier. The secret chests can be opened once per character per week. However, the main encounters will give you non-powerful drops every time you complete them beyond the first. This means you can simply grab a friend with the second encounter checkpoint and get a chance at Death Adder. Just make sure when you're farming the second encounter, one person in your team swaps characters to keep the checkpoint. If you're interested in any other loot from this dungeon, I'll throw a graphic up on screen so you can see which encounters drop which items. If you want anything specific on this list, just make sure you've already obtained the weapon once and then farm the checkpoint of whatever encounter it's associated with. I know you all clicked onto this video for Death Adder though, so let's get into the rolls. While this is currently the best replacement for the Recluse, it's definitely not on the same level as Recluse. The main perks you want in the first two columns are basically anything that give more range or stability. In the first main perk column, for PvE, there are two good perks: Feeding Frenzy and Subsistence. Feeding Frenzy, as many of you probably know, increases reload speed after getting kills. At the beginning of the season, Bungie changed how Feeding Frenzy works. Instead of getting any kill and having max reload speed, you have to work your way up to it. In other words, every kill you get gives you a stack of Feeding Frenzy, and that goes up to 5, and the more stacks you have, the faster the reload. Even though it did get nerfed, it's still probably the best reload perk in the game because it's just so easy to proc. Subsistence is one some of you probably don't know too much about. Kills partially reload the magazine from reserves, but reserve capacity is reduced. This is typically a bad perk because it reduces the overall reserves by a lot, but since it takes primary ammo and reserve perks on armor are a thing, I think it's a great perk. Also in this column, you can get dynamic sway reduction. This perk improves accuracy and stability after shooting for about half a second. Probably not necessary in PvE, but in the Crucible this can help you land all your shots. In the last column, all the potential perks are good. For PvE, you probably want either Dragonfly or Disruption Break. Dragonfly causes enemies to explode after a precision kill. This is great for activities with a lot of smaller adds, so you can kill one and either damage a few others or potentially kill a few others. Usually I would ignore Disruption Break, but this season specifically we have anti-barrier rounds on SMGs. So if you break a barrier champion's shield and you have Disruption Break, you'll apply a 50% debuff to your target. This is a great option for Nightfalls and Nightmare Hunts, so if you plan on farming either of those, I would highly recommend trying this perk. All the other perks are amazing for PvP. Quick Draw to allow you to swap weapons just a little bit faster. Eye of the Storm to become more accurate and boost handling as your health gets lower. Rangefinder to increase the overall effective range of the weapon. And finally, Moving Target to increase movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down sights. I would be happy with any of these perks in PvP, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably go with Rangefinder. To sum all that up, my god rolls would be anything that gives you range or stability in the first column, Accurized Rounds in the second column, Feeding Frenzy or Subsistence in the third column, and Dragonfly in the last column. If you plan on doing activities with anti-barrier champions, you may want to replace Dragonfly with Disruption Break. My PvP god roll would be anything with range or stability in the first column, Accurized Rounds in the second column, Dynamic Sway Reduction in the third column, and Rangefinder in the final column. For the masterwork on both of them, I would say either range, stability, or maybe even reload speed for PvE. I hope you all found this video helpful, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to stay up to date with all my other Destiny 2 content. I want to thank you all for watching. I'm Marshix, and I'll see you next time.